Hey everybody, Pastor Alex here. We thought in this time of self-isolation and quarantine that we would let you into some of our homes and let you see behind the scenes of some of the staff, some of the pastors, and see how we do things. In particular, we want to share with you things that are going to be helpful and applicable to you in your spiritual life. And so we're going to be doing like a 3, 4, maybe 5 video series called How I Do My Devos, where we share the things that we do personally with our time with the Lord, and maybe those ideas will be helpful and applicable to you as you grow in your relationship with the Lord, especially with all the extra time that we have on our hands. So I'm lucky number 1. Welcome to my beautiful home. We live 2 minutes from the church. We love that we are so close to our church family. Why don't we come over this way? I'm going to show you where I do my devos, what I use, and share a little bit about the process. Here in the jungle, I have a little shelf with my 3 books. Before we even get to this point, I want to share some tips I have for waking up. I know that sounds crazy and stupid, but how you wake up is important, and I've made a lot of mistakes over the years. Number 1 mistake, this was my alarm clock for many, many years, my smartphone. So the first thing that I see when I wake up is this thing, and it's got notifications for me, it's got emails, it's got texts, it's got other people's problems being placed on my plate. Well, that was not a good way for my brain to start focused on the Lord. So what I started doing recently is I put it and I charge it in the office, closed door. I take an extra measure of safety because I have such bad self-control. I have parental controls on this thing that keep it locked from me until 8:30 in the morning, so that I have to start with the Word of God. The other thing I do is I keep my real alarm clock, no longer using this. I keep my real alarm clock across the room, so when it goes off, I actually have to get on my feet. I'm up now, I turn it off, and now I'm ready to start my day with the Lord. And then I come here, I sit down, I have 3 books. The first book is called the Bible. This one's called The Bible for Everyone. And this is a unique translation by a Hebrew Bible scholar and a New Testament Bible scholar. It keeps a lot of the natural language and idiomatic expressions of the original language. I like changing my Bible translation from time to time because everything can become a routine, and then we start saying, oh, I've read that verse before. It's nice to see it in fresh language. So the other is just a blank journal, and then I have a daily planner that I really love. But I want to say something before I tell you what I do now, because what I do now is not what I always used to do. And it's probably not what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I think it's okay that we change and grow and evolve with time. And whatever works for you, works for you. There's no right or wrong way to spend time with the Lord. It's just important that we spend time with the Lord. And so make sure that you do whatever works for you. This is what I'm doing right now. Okay? So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually going through the Bible 1 page at a time. I'm going through from Genesis all the way to Revelation in order. And I don't have a set amount that I read every day. I want to just read enough to get something out of it. Sometimes that's short, sometimes that's long, okay? There's no rules. Usually I will start by highlighting a chapter, whatever chapter I'm in, as I go through in order. And I will highlight the key phrases, the text that jump out to me, the things that seem important, the repeated phrases. I'll highlight all of those as I read through it one time. Then I'll come back and I will, usually the same day, sometimes I'll do it the next day, I'll go back over my highlights and I'll start to write down, what is this chapter about? What is the author saying? What are the important points? What am I really seeing? What are some questions that it's raising as I'm reading it? And I start to journal, I start to write down a summary, really, of what I read. And sometimes I'll stop right in the middle of my summary and I'll just say, Lord, and I'll write a prayer down. Lord, please help me to not be an idiot like that guy was an idiot. And then I'll write a few more prayer sentences about that, and then I'll go on to more observation. And I will do that some days. Some days I won't even do any observations. I'll just fill a whole page with prayers. And just to be honest, my biggest weakness isn't reading the Word, it's praying. And so I found writing down my prayers is very helpful. And so if you have a hard time praying and staying focused, try that. I've heard of people praying out loud, but anyway, I do that, and then I move on to the next thing, and I start over the next day. The whole process can be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half. depending on how long it takes. I try to wake up before my kids so that I have some quiet time, and usually that's pretty early in the morning, 5:30, 6 a.m. And then after I've done some Devo time, I go onto my daily planner and I go on with my day. Listen, I'm a much nicer person when I spend time with the Lord, and I'm a much worse person when I don't. And I think you're probably the same. So let's make sure we are doing our Devos. Hopefully that was helpful. God bless you guys. Love you, church.